Greetings, fair fans. I am Vincenzo Larfoff, and this week's scary story is The Curse of Tutankhamun. It was 1922, a particularly ghoulish year, when an archaeologist named Howard Carter discovered the tomb of Tutankhamun, the ancient Egyptian pharaoh. As the dastardly digger crept inside the tomb, he found not only the king's great treasures, but there, in the burial chamber, trapped within a golden sarcophagus, the ancient pharaoh's mummy. And as we all know, nothing is more frightening than mummy.
Go and tidy your room!
And on the wall above the dead king's body was written a curse. Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king. Yes, ooh, indeed. The curse was quick to bite. Within a year, the man who paid for the dig, Lord Carnarvon, dropped down dead. And as he did, all the lights in Cairo, the Egyptian capital, went out. At that exact same moment, back home in England, his dog howled in the moonlight. The curse of Tutankhamun had struck. But what would become of the man who first broke into the mummy's tomb? What fate would befall Howard Carter himself? He died years later of completely natural causes. It turned out that Lord Carnarvon died from an infected mosquito bite. The lights in Cairo went out because the electrics were dodgy, and his dog howled, well, because that's just what dogs do, isn't it? It was nothing to do with the mummy. Oh, just stop it. The curse was just made up by the newspapers. Why am I here? I mean, you know, if it's not a real ghost story, why get me? Get John Barrowman or Anton Deck. I'm off. And I'm keeping the jacket.
Gorgeous Georgians!
We didn't just have silly wigs in Georgian times. We also had some silly tax laws.
And now it's time for our fairy tale series, where all the stories are retold in different historical settings. Today, The Three Little Pigs, the Georgian version. And the wolf huffed and puffed and blew the stick house down. So the little pigs ran as fast as their little trotters would carry them to their little piggy brother's house, which was made of very strong brick. But this was Georgian times, and the little piggy in the brick house had bricked up all his windows so he wouldn't have to pay the new window tax, which meant he didn't see his little piggy brothers. And they were both eaten up by the big bad wolf. The end.
It's true. Many Georgian people bricked up their windows like this to avoid the window tax. We Georgians had silly taxes because we had stupid politicians, and we had stupid politicians because we had silly elections.
Greetings, horror hounds. I am Vincenzo Larfoff, and this week's scary story is from the Middle Ages. It's called The Children of Woolpit. It was 1173, an especially eerie year when the small village of Woolpit in the county of Suffolk was invaded by creatures from another world. Indeed. One day, two aliens appeared in the village. These aliens had taken the form of two children, a boy and a girl, but their skin was bright green, and they spoke in a strange alien language. Or something. Yes, the villagers of Woolpit were terrified. These green-skinned aliens demanded to be fed, but what they ate was truly chilling. Something no real human child would eat without being forced. Yes, vegetables! And then, quite without warning, the boy alien dropped down dead. And the girl alien? Well, that's the strangest part of all. She became a part-time domestic servant. It turned out that these children were not from Mars or Venus. They were from Belgium. They were orphans, the children of Belgian cloth makers. Their skin was green because of the dye the parents used on the cloth. They'd been living in the woods so long, the only food they recognised was vegetation. The boy died of malnutrition, the girl grew up, learned English, got married and went to work for a local knight. This is not a scary story, is it? It's a sort of boring story with a weird beginning. That isn't the same thing. I mean, why am I here? I grew a goatee for this. It's unbelievable. I'm going to my dressing room and there had better be donuts.
The past is no longer a mystery. Welcome to Horrible Histories.